You guys have heard me talk about it in plenty of my videos now. I'm excited about our air conditioning getting installed up there, like way up there. But before we can do that, we have to prepare for them to be able to bring their lifts in here and install a big AC unit, which probably in hindsight would have made a lot of sense to just do that before we ever built anything in here, but now we've got to kind of unbuild some stuff to then do it.
Sure, you can DIY anything, but why do this when you can have this? Available in both 120 and 140 millimeter sizes, the new Prisma fans from Fractal Design feature 6 individually addressable hub-mounted RGB LEDs that are compatible with most motherboard addressable RGB headers. To learn more, click the link in the description below.
So here's our ghetto AC setup that we've had for a while now. We've talked about it before. Those ducts coming down right there are coming off of a 3-ton unit designed to cool about 800 square feet or so of office space, maybe even less than that. And so what we do is we crank that AC and then we put this high pressure industrial fan in the door and we blow all that cold out here, making it warm in there, tolerable out here, and then that AC never gets the chance to cycle. And that's bad. You don't want an AC, you don't want an AC running nonstop. You also don't want it oversized where it's turning off too quickly because then it never gets into, again, cycling. So what we are going to do today is we have to clear space for them to bring their lifts and stuff in here, which means I've got to move the workbench and those tables. And you can see we kind of already put all of our lights over here out of the way. But let me tell you the way it's gonna be, because we're filming this right now ahead of them getting here, technically a few days from now. And I'm curious as to how they're gonna do this. So if you look in our office here real quick, you can see, and you saw this in our networking video as well, this is a drop ceiling, which means it's being suspended. It's suspended by all those wires, and then this cork material just kind of pushes up and out of the way. I'm sure people by now are familiar with how drop ceilings work. But if you look up there, look at all those wires. The reason why that matters, that's a package unit on the roof. The whole thing is contained as a single unit. That's why it's called a package unit, the HVAC. It's a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. It's all handled in one unit that then handles the air from outside and blows it in down here. We are not doing a package unit here. We are doing a split unit, a commercial split. We thought about doing a package unit, but because we're going with a 7.5-ton unit out here, so I don't own this building. I've already said that in the future I will probably own a building, but that's not gonna happen for at least 5 years. That's how long our lease is here. So do I really wanna spend the cost of putting an HVAC system out here? And I'm not gonna say what it costs, but I will say that anyone working in commercial HVAC knows how much it's gonna cost us to put a 7.5-ton unit here in a warehouse. What we're doing is we're doing a split unit. So we only have to drill a small, like 6-inch hole that goes up into the roof, where the condenser unit is gonna be on the roof, and then the actual air handler is gonna be inside the space here. So it's gonna be suspended on a cradle that's gonna be coming off of those steel beams up there, and it's gonna be over here to the right of these tubes. And the reason why we're doing that is so we don't interfere with any of the bracing. You see how the office is being braced by these steel beams right here? Because again, these are just tilt-up office walls. They're not load-bearing at all. So that's why it's not like when you build a house and it's got all this fully framed structure. Just those steel beams are holding it up. So with the steel beams there and just guy wires over here for the drop ceiling, we decided it's going over here. At least the estimator and the project manager decided that would be the best place to put it. So they're gonna be removing those guy wires, re-supporting off of the cradle they're building, putting the AC there, and then we're gonna be bringing the main duct over here above this door, where it's then gonna be coming all the way across the center of our AC, or our warehouse, nearly to this wall, where it's then gonna have, what, 12 registers shooting down at a 45, 14x8 registers shooting down at 45s here, 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 and here, right? So we're gonna have a crap ton of air mixing. And then the supply for the AC unit is gonna be up there high, where it's pulling hot air out of the ceiling, cooling it off, and blowing it out here. So with a 7.5-ton unit, and our summer is getting 110 plus, which is 44C and higher, we should be able to keep it under 75 degrees Fahrenheit in here at all times, which is more like what, 22C? Something like that? Something like that. Yeah, so that's a pretty significant amount of cooling. So one of the convenient things too is the fact that our panels are right here inside the warehouse. And because we have a, like I said in our other video, we have a 208 120 volt and a 480 277 volt, they have to pull power up, just like they did here, right? So they've got to run conduit up and over, which means we've got to clear this space out. Now I've already talked to them, fortunately. I don't have to take down our shelves. And I don't have to take down our other set because that ain't happening. They have to work around that, fortunately. They said they're just gonna drape plastic over it, they'll be fine. They'll be able to work across it just fine. So anyway, which means we have to tear all this down. So we're not gonna talk about this. This is going live in another video. You guys have already seen where we played around with the overclocks, but yeah. So stay tuned for that. I think it's the next video going live after this one. So one of the things we did in our wiring vlogs that triggered so many people, and I guess rightfully so, was two things. One, when we fixed this socket right here, which is a 20 amp socket, you can tell it's a 20 amp because it's got the T right there on the eyeball, right? It's got the T. Well, we use 14x2 wire, and everyone's like, you should have used 12x2. 12x2, you have a fire hazard, and you shouldn't have used Romex, which I guess is not actually the name of, it's a brand name of the cable, not the actual cable type. So it's this type NM-B, I guess, 14-2 with ground, 600 volts. We would have probably never exceeded this. But the problem here is that where we've got it taped down and stuff, I guess something could still accidentally kind of gouge it, because this is designed, I guess, to be in a wall and not messed with or handled or any of that sort of stuff. And so a lot of people were like, hey, Jay, that's a serious hazard. You really need to replace that with a proper like 12x3, or some people even sent me links to proper like industrial extension cords that we can build our cord out of, like we're trying to do right here. So to make everyone happy, especially all of the electricians out there, we are gonna go ahead and we are gonna take it off. Oh no. Oh.
I called it.
Gorilla tape on Gorilla tape.
The concrete comes up.
Fire hazard removed. Are you guys happy? You know the real reason why I did it? I have to move the workbench. It's okay, now I have extra Romex to use elsewhere where you guys can't see it and get mad at me. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, so now I'm just gonna kind of tear down all the loose stuff, put skunkworks in my truck, and finally take it back home, get all this out of the way and over there, and yeah, we'll come back when they're actually here and starting the work. They started the installation. And I like boats so much, I made a big old barrel of a boat in my warehouse. That's not an air conditioning duct, it's a turret. So slight change of plans. We realized that these are actually, these walls over here, this half of the office are actually constructed in a manner that could be load bearing. And so what's happened here is a platform has been built on top of the women's bathroom. We don't have any women here, so it's okay if it crashes through there. There's no women here. And then there's kind of a support on top of it because this is the air handler for our 7.5 ton air conditioning unit. So this guy, which is actually pretty heavy, I still don't know how they're planning on getting it up there, but that's their problem. That's what I'm paying them, right? So it's a split unit. As you can see, the other half is over there. That's the 7.5 ton condenser right there. So that's gonna be removing all the heat and stuff. And then this is gonna be handling all the cold air and blowing it out into our warehouse. So it's gonna go up here. They're gonna be manufacturing a 90-degree duct that connects to our main 24-inch duct right here. And then it steps down to, I believe, 20-inch right here, where we then are gonna have more vents right there blowing down at us. And then it steps down to 18-inch down here, that is then gonna be having more vents blowing down at us. That's how it works. So the air conditioner blows down on us to cool us. But a little fun fact here, that's an 18-inch duct on the end. It's a spiral duct. Basically, it's rifling for the air. It makes it spin and have more velocity, a little less turbulence. That right there is also the inner diameter of the barrel found on the Yamato from World War II. You guys can also check out the Yamato by using my World of Warships code down below. No, it's not actually an ad, but I could have made it one. Bigger than the Yamato. So anyway, our panel's off right here. You can see they're actually grabbing power from here. Conduits run right there. You can see where it's gonna come into the panel. So they're actually grabbing 3 phase from over here on this panel. They've got the conduit up and over, and that's going all the way across. So I can't wait for this to be done. Now, one of the things we need to do, and I know I'm totally nerding out over HVAC and stuff, one of the things we need to do is lower the heat load. So heat load is the calculation that you use to determine how much cooling you need in a space. It's not just throw the big O unit at it. Throwing a big O unit at the problem only costs you more money, and then it costs you way more electricity and stuff when you could sometimes shrink the demand rather than growing to meet the demand. So in the afternoon, the sun shines directly on that door, as you can see. And with it being metal and the fact that we live in the desert, you can imagine that that gets to be pretty darn hot. So what we had constructed here to just try and control some of the heat back when we first got in this place, just so it would be bearable, is this wall of insulation. This insulation right here isn't even honestly like what we bought it for. It was for more of those panels, which I'm actually taking those panels off the wall and redoing it. Actually, we're gonna be using InsoQuilt, which is a type of stuff you use in a sound stage. It's a real thick, heavy insulating blanket that's designed to absorb and deaden sound and reverb. It's what you would use it's used in Hollywood. And so we're putting that on the walls in here. But this right here is just a foam with an R factor, and it's got a radiant barrier on it, and it's insulating foam. So I just went, well, man, 6 of these is about the size of the door, so why not just go ahead and tape them together and stick in front of the door? And that worked really well. But since we have another set that's gonna be built over here fairly close to this door, at least 3 or 4 feet off of it, we're not gonna be able to get anything big through this door anymore, so what's the matter? It's not gonna be any more open than this people door is gonna be. In fact, we'll have more room on the people door because it swings all the way out of the way. So I'm gonna also be building a frame for the front of this that's not only using insulation, we're probably not gonna even use the foam, to be honest, because the foam offers us insulation, offers us absolutely zero sound barrier. I'm gonna do my research to find out what the best material to use is to deaden the sound, because when we get deliveries and stuff in this alleyway, like the neighbors and stuff, there's like a cold food storage, blah, blah, blah back there. And so every day at like 9:30 to 10, they get a delivery, and it's a big rig that comes down here, and they're all to let everyone know they're here. They could just go. Now, Phil had a very good point. He said, Jay, aren't you leaving for vacation in day after tomorrow? And I was like, yep. And he's like, isn't this gonna be done after you're back or after you're gone? And I was like, yep. And he's like, so how do you plan on filming the end of this? A bunch of people suggested that we make a roof for this to help with the sound. The problem is I'm not talking like this when I do my videos. I'm talking like that, and although sound does go out at nearly 360 degrees. We've already talked about building something up here to help with the sound, but I want to see how the InsoQuilt does first. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to be able to show you guys in this video what the AC is like when it's done, because as Phil so eloquently pointed out, I'm going to be gone before it's done. Phil will be enjoying my AC before me. And I'm the one that paid for the damn thing.
Yay!
All right, well, by the time you guys see this, I'm on a boat out in the Caribbean, dressed like a pirate. True story, you'll see it in an ad.